Good afternoon. My name is David Medrano from Coordinación de Idiomas, and today we're going to be looking at active and passive voice based on inventions in our Product 9 of Session 3. To be able to see what we're going to learn in this new session, we need to also take a good look back at what we have learned. We got to understand what can we find in a museum, like fossils, famous inventions, famous paintings, sculptures, famous antique objects too. And also we got to see in another session the rules we must follow when we enter a museum. We must understand that we cannot just go screaming, running, or try to steal or be eating during a presentation. It would look very bad on our part. Then, what are we going to learn in this session? Well, in this session, we will learn about what famous inventions that have changed our lives, the use of active and passive voice in the past tense to talk about famous inventions, also how to formulate passive voice sentences based on famous inventions and change them to active voice and vice versa. And also in the end, we're going to get to see a small activity just to see if we have learned what was shown. But first things first, what is an invention? ¿Qué es una invención? Well, many of us know that an invention, una invención o creación, but if you don't know what it is, then it's a creation someone that has done that may benefit the rest of the world or one's self. Question: ¿Puedes pensar en alguna invención mexicana? De lo que yo recuerdo, hay muchas invenciones mexicanas. Just to name a good famous one, a Mexican person actually made the TV of color. Para mencionar una, hubo un mexicano que en realidad creó la televisión de color. Let's see if we get to see that person right now. But first, we need to have a grammar check. I think everybody knows the parts of a speech. Everybody knows what a noun is. But if you don't know, just remember that a noun could always be the subject, which is the person, place, or thing in a sentence. After a subject, we usually have a verb. What is a verb? Well, a verb is an action, and we must understand that in the past tense, there are regular and irregular verbs that are called past participles. After the action or verb, we have the complement, which is the purpose or reason for the actions done by the subject. It could be who, what, when, where, or why of the action. Here's Therefore, what is active and passive voice? Well, active voice is someone does something, and passive voice is something is done by someone. Let's check out this brief example. Henry Ford built the car. How can we change that into passive voice? Well, as we can see, in active voice, we have first the subject, then we have the verb in past. After that, we have the creation or the invention of the subject. In passive voice, instead of having the subject first, we have the complement, which is the invention. After that is was, then is the verb in past, followed by a by, and then a subject, which it gives us the car was built by Henry Ford. Can you see the difference? How the subject changes almost to the end, and the complement changes instead of the end to the beginning in passive voice. As we can see, the verb be, which is what he has done, built, as we can see, it changes. Let's look at some other examples. Let's start off with one of the most important inventions throughout our history. Vamos a empezar con una de las invenciones más importantes a lo largo de nuestra historia, which is the light bulb. Does anybody know who created the light bulb? Well, it was Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Therefore, how can we change this sentence, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, to passive voice? Well, as we can see, our grammatical formula to make a passive voice sentence, all we needed to do is put first the complement, followed by a was, then the past participle, then a by, and finally the subject. Well, we can see that Thomas Edison is the subject. Here's another example. The Marvel Comics. Does anybody remember the Marvel Comics or the Avengers? That was a pretty good movie. But do you know who created those characters? It was the famous person Stan Lee. Stan Lee created the Marvel Comics. How can we change this into passive voice? Easily, we put the complement, then was, after that the past participle, followed by a by, and finally a subject, which could be the Marvel Comics were created by Stan Lee. As we can see, was is changed to were. Why? Well, it's because we are talking about more than one thing. The Marvel Comics. If it was Marvel Comic, it could be was. Another famous invention are the bifocal glasses. As we can see in passive voice, let's just change it up a bit. In passive voice, the glasses were invented by Benjamin Franklin. And if we want to change this passive voice sentence to active voice, all we have to do is look at our grammatical formula. Si nosotros queremos cambiar esta primera oración que está en pasiva, lo único que tenemos que hacer es fijarnos en nuestra fórmula gramatical. En nuestra fórmula gramatical simplemente debemos de poner en el correcto orden las palabras que están en la oración de voz pasiva. As we can see, for active voice we need first a subject, then the verb in past, which is an irregular verb, and a complement. Como podemos ver, para cambiar la voz pasiva a voz activa. Now, to get to another invention, a famous invention that I wish I had, vamos a checar una nueva invención que me gustaría tener, que al final no tengo, pero posteriormente a lo mejor llegaremos a conseguir uno. But that's another story. Another famous invention is the iPhone. Who created the iPhone? Well, Steve Jobs created the iPhone. And to change it to passive voice, all we need to do is put the iPhone first, followed by a was, then create it, then a by for the verb to be, and last but not least, the subject, which is Steve Jobs. As you can see in these examples, it's very, very easy to change an active voice sentence to a passive voice sentence. All you have to do is follow the grammatical formula. Now, to finish off, we need to do an activity. Pause this video and change the sentence from passive based on various inventions to active or vice versa. ¿Qué es lo que vas a hacer en esta actividad? Vas a cambiar estas oraciones que están en pasivo, basadas en varias invenciones, a activa o viceversa, es decir, de activa a pasiva o de pasivo a activo. We put pause on this image and we do the activity and send it to our teacher. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I'm sorry if I didn't explain well enough for you, but if we check at our grammatical formulas, everything can be done easily just by following the steps. I hope everybody has a wonderful day and stay tuned for more sessions by Coordinación de Idiomas. Today's date is May the 10th. 2021, which is Mother's Day, and I hope every mother is having a wonderful day or had a wonderful day, and my best wishes for everyone. Hoy tenemos la fecha de mayo 10 del 2021 y solo quiero tomarme el tiempo de decirles y felicitar a todas las madres. Quiero darles un gran abrazo, mandarles un gran abrazo. No.